Mm-hmm.
You're watching Artist Talk with your host, The Dreamer, in conjunction with Guitarist Streaming 352. Artist Talk is proud to feature Billy Rowe, Rock and Roll Relic guitarist. In my opinion, the best guitarist on the planet. Be right back. And we're live. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Artist Talk featuring Mr. Billy Rowe, a rock and roll rally guitarist at JETBOY'S. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Will, aka The Dreamer. Welcome to Dreamland Studios. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me your time today and for being here.
You bet.
Yeah.
Really.
Thank you. Gosh, thank you, sir. The reason why I wanted to talk about your brand, Rock and Roll Relics and JETBOY, is because number one, I'm a fan, I'm a music lover, I'm a guitar lover, I'm a rock and roll spirit, plug straight in, Malcolm Young. I'm Malcolm. Malcolm, I'm the guy, and I love what you're doing, sir. And I want to tell everybody that is tuning in and that's getting ready to tune in this morning. Welcome to the show. And I want to share with everybody that Billy is creating some of the best rock guitars available. And Billy Rowe, owner of Rock and Roll Relics, knows how to build a good guitar, knows what a good guitar should sound like, knows what a good guitar should look like, and knows what a good guitar should be. And that's why, Billy, I can't thank you enough for being here, because you are a band leader, a visionary extraordinaire, and a guitarist.
Okay.
Thank you so very much for being here.
You bet. Thank you.
So,
words.
Thank you, sir. So how's your morning going so far?
You know, so far so good. A little bit of coffee, a little tired, but that'll shake off as the day rolls out.
I know it's early, and I
had a late night the other night. I went to see King Diamond and this new band Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats. So it's down in Anaheim. So me and my friends got back a little late. After midnight's way late for me these days.
Where was King Diamond playing?
That was at the Grove, Anaheim.
Oh wow!
Classic, right?
Wow! Was that the Institute tour?
I'm not sure. It's the current one, so I don't remember. I don't know the name of the tour, but it's kind of a last minute thing. But yeah, so still a little tired from that, even though it was the other night.
I saw that show. As a matter of fact, I saw a special showing live from Denmark.
Oh yeah.
That stage looked absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, pretty elaborate, very Alice Cooper-ish, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So when you started, let's see, when you started Rock and Roll Relic Guitars,
Mm-hmm.
what exactly was your vision? What was the reason? What inspired you to create Rock and Roll Relic Guitars?
Well, this whole thing kind of just organically happened. I had no plans of doing this at all. So I've always been into tweaking on guitars. I built a guitar in high school. I still have it. I was always very into like painting guitars, and in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, it was, parts guitars, and parts were, that was when it was hot. It was new and fresh, and new pickup brands and all that. So I just got into just doing for my own thing, and just for fun. And then I think years later, you fast forward after, the Jet Boy years, and which is the first, a couple guitars I played in the very early era of Jet Boy were like, a Strat I put together and painted it hot pink. And but just years later, I just got into it again. I was always into guitars. They weren't vintage guitars then; they were just used. But I was always into the older ones for the time. And then I don't know, I just kind of started doing some more parts guitars for fun, and the internet comes along, and I just started seeing people building their own thing, and this whole aging, relicing process started just, people started doing it very, very little. It was very new, and that always intrigued me. I was always into that because I was always into a guitar that had a bunch of battle scars on it, and you could tell it was well played, and a well-played guitar is a guitar to me that plays great because you don't want to put it down. So and then it just kind of one thing after another, I started a website, and then this and that, and I started to sell a couple on eBay, and seeing a couple other companies that are pretty big now, do the same thing, and I just kind of just kept doing it, and led to where I'm at now.
Will Rock and Roll Relic Guitars ever in the near future or future ever build a double neck?
A double neck? I don't know. Tracy Gunn's asked me that before. I no plans on a double neck. We're keeping up with this to one neck right now, just to keep those floating. But who knows? You never know. Maybe we'll do a 5 neck for Rick Nielsen, or an 8 neck.
Anything can happen.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. You just never know. Boy, that would be something.
Yeah.
That would be something. A Rock and Roll Relic 8 neck for Rick Nielsen. I would love to see that.
That'd be huge.
That would be great.
Oh my God, that's funny.
That would be fantastic. Fantastic. I could. What I know what's even funnier is that I could actually picture that in my head. That would be great. Rick Nielsen would be the guy to do it for, I'll tell you.
Right?
Well. Mr. Joala, just say hi to the chat real quick, Billy, if you don't mind. Mr. Joala, hi guys, I have a 59 Heartbreaker. It's one badass guitar. The tone is incredible. There you go.
I love that.
There you go. I can't agree more. That plays like butter. It plays like butter. So Joala also says, Billy, your guitars are badass. That's it. That's it.
Thank you.
I couldn't say it better myself, Joe. That is it. Right on the money. Right on the money. Well, as you can see, this isn't really a Paul Reed Smith house I live in. I like straight, true rock and roll spirit, screaming, creamy goodness. And I found it with Rock and Roll Relic guitars, baby. I found it with Rock and Roll Relic guitars. So, what, if you don't mind, sir, what is your most memorable Jet Boy experience playing live with Jet Boy?
Some of the early stuff was super memorable. Of course, playing some of those clubs that I started going to as a kid, and then next thing you're playing them and packing them. But it would really be for me to be playing with bands that were like, the heroes that we were influenced by or like fans of, and then next thing we know, we're doing shows with them and becoming friends with them, like Johnny Thunders, Lords of the New Church, Kicks, and then the top of the heap for me personally would be we toured with Cheap Trick in '89, and that would have been that's like the second show I ever saw was Cheap Trick and Kiss. So, and they're still one of my all-time favorite bands. So that was very memorable.
I remember seeing Jet Boy back in the day. And I remember when my ex brother-in-law is who I went and saw you guys with, and all I could keep talking about was Mickey's mohawk, and I'm like, cool, man, let's check it out. I gotta tell you, when I saw you guys and you were playing that White Gretsch, I knew. I could feel it in my heart. I knew that something real magical was going to happen for you guys. And I knew, because you guys are just so true and honest and transparent about who you are and what you love. And I just admire that. I think that's really cool. Non-apologetic rock and roll. And you know what? Kudos for that. That this world needs more than that, more of that.
Yeah, that's what rock and roll is all about. Is this honest and attitude and just playing from the heart.
Over here in the chat, we have Music Gear Network. Howdy, Will Dunham. Sandra and I are both listening. She's baking and I'm moving the website for a client. Oh, welcome, Eric. Welcome, Butterfly. My special guest is Billy Rowe of RockNRollRelics Guitars. Thank you for being here today. Music Gear Network. Have you ever seen Music Gear Network on YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, Eric's a good dude. He's inspired me and helped me to do what I'm doing today. Because I didn't know what I was going to do. Right. All I know is I love guitars, I play, so on and so forth. And I didn't know what my outlet was going to be. And then I met Music Gear Network and Eric Broadbent up in Canada, and we started talking. and we got to know one another. And that inspired me to do what I do now. So I always like to thank him. I always like to thank Eric Broadbent.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm doing now would not be possible if I didn't meet him, because I'm pretty camera shy. You know.
Doesn't seem like it.
Thank you. That's very kind of you, sir. So I ask this of all my guests: what is your most important, precious piece of gear, and why?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
mine. Well, I still have the White Falcon. That's probably the precious piece of gear for me personally. It was really the one guitar I just ended up always wanting, and I got it. Still have it. Played it. Kind of became like an image trademark for me with the Jet Boy years. A big part of this the rhythmic sound of the band was the tone of that guitar. So that's probably the prize one for me personally. Yeah, I don't really have too much stuff from the old days anymore. I don't really have a lot of gear anymore. Just getting everything going with this company and everything. But I also have my 74 Travis Bean that I love so much. I was just inspired by those with Joe Perry and Rick Nielsen, and Ace Frehley even played one, back in the day, and Keith Richards. But both those guitars I used on both the early Jet Boy records. It's like the Falcon's the first guitar I ever recorded a record with. So, I guess that kind of holds like a special place.
That's guitars are just have a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
They have this spirit, this aura that is undeniable. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it really is. It really is.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Becomes part of you,
The Joe Walla here in the chat. Here's a true point. I own 10 Les Pauls. Your work blows Gibson out of the water. See what I tell you. What did I tell you? That's beautiful.
That's so funny.
That is so neat. I'm a Les Paul guy.
Mm-hmm.
I love Les Pauls. I've always loved Les Pauls. Ever since I was a wee toddler listening to Les Paul and Mary Ford with my mom in our kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
On a little hand-me-down radio.
That's cool.
Stuff. I've always loved Les Pauls, and that turned me on to the very first Gibson Les Paul that I ever owned.
Mm-hmm.
Was an 80s cream custom.
Right.
And the Les Paul that I own now it's just a 1960 tribute, but I have personal attachment to it. Mm-hmm. Because I named it after my niece.
Right.
Rosie.
Mm-hmm.
And but what my friend Joe Wallace said right there, that's it, right on the mark, Billy. Mm-hmm. If you don't mind me calling you that, Mr. Rowe. And it phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Music Gear Network also says, thank you so much for the very kind words. Well done and well. Eric knows me, and he knows I mean what I say. Thank you, Eric. You're welcome. You're very welcome. So, RockNRollRelics guitars. I noticed that. Oh, and I also saw the Jazz Bastard.
Mm-hmm.
That I thought to myself, wow, look at that. Because with the Jazz Bastard, uh, I'm really dying to know, does that play like a Les Paul or like the Heartbreakers?
What, the Jazz Bastard?
Yeah.
Well, it's a different feel, you know. It's the bolt-on, you know. But I think all guitars kind of have their own thing when it comes to and the way they're kind of the look of them and everything, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm all into guitars. Like, for me, like guitars fit for certain things that you play, styles wise. You got metal, you got rock, you got blues, and there are the one trick ponies in bands, but then the band is that one style. So someone like Malcolm Young who's played that guitar his whole career and is the god on the top of the mountain for me. But all guitars are different. So, but they play great,
The Thunders, the Thunders double cut with the humbucker, with your African mahogany neck with the 12-inch radius. Well, what inspired you to, if you don't mind sharing, sir, what inspired you to create an African mahogany neck with a 12-inch radius?
It's just the basics of classic guitars. The bolt-on style were always more the 7 1/4, 9 1/2. But the set neck stuffs were always more on the 12-inch radius and all that. And personally, that's more what I was accustomed to. It's a flatter neck. So it's just really kind of the basics, kind of keep it simple and what people know. And the African mahogany is really just a new species of wood that's available, and that's really affordable today and what Honduran was back in the day. I mean, people rave about Honduran mahogany. It was great wood, but it was just cheap and available back then. It wasn't like hand-picked or anything like that. So it was old growth wood back then. So, I think it's really in the weight. I think a lot of it has to do with the guitar, I mean, you could have a heavy guitar, or I kind of like them more on the light side to kind of get a little more twang and bite out of them. So
the one thing that I found interesting too is that your standard colors with cherry black, TV yellow, and aged white, with your aging levels of light, medium, heavy, and extra heavy, relicing, you offer a lot of options.
Yeah.
And that's something I just don't see a lot of other outlets, musical instrument outlets that I've been looking at. That's what I think is, well, I think the options are the key. And the fact that you do that, the fact that you offer all these options, it's amazing. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, it's all the custom shop type stuff. I mean, there's some of these bigger companies don't do serious options like that, but then there's some that do. And then that's where the boutique companies, I think, are so great, because they got more personal with everybody, which is how these big brands were in the early days. Not that they did custom stuff back then, because it really wasn't a thing, but they were small boutique, very small shops, and the innovators back then. That's why those guitars are worth so much money. They were truly handcrafted.
Well, the what is it? Gibson started in Kalamazoo, Michigan. that there's just something about when a company is small and it's tight knit. There's just something about that
Hmm.
that just screams just tight knit focus. Um, well, the only other way I could really describe it is tight knit focus power.
Hmm.
Just that driving force, that determination and that focus. And that's another thing that I do not. I see, like bigger companies or whatever, what have you, on a massive, massive, um, massive production line. I guess you would say. I don't know, but what I'm trying to say is that's what appeals to me also about rock and roll relic guitars.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. Well, with a lot of these companies, that are out there that are the boutique guys, there's, a lot of us are all friends and all that. It's small. It's like small shops, and it's just how all these companies started that are huge right now. It's kind of like that's the tough one. It's like a band. I always describe it as a band because that's kind of the school I came from, and I kind of apply all those things I did in music to what I'm doing now with this guitar company. But became a band starts. They write some songs. They're in a garage. They play a club. Next thing, they got a record deal, and then they're playing a bigger venue. And some go on to being, a household name. And things just change. It's just becomes simple in the early days, and then it's just when the bigger you get, the more complicated things get. So it's a challenge. Success can be a blessing and a curse.
Do you ever feel like that it's something that 24/7 an individual or a person ever has to continually live up to?
Uh, well, yeah, and you mean keeping up with things basically, or
Basically, yeah, just keeping up with things.
yeah, it's a challenge. The more you do it, and the more the more you get out there, the more there is a challenge, and that's just the way it is. But challenges are the way you grow in life and get to the places that you want to go. That's where you want to go. So I'm all for that.
So, what would you say is your favorite amp that you've ever plugged into in your entire career?
My favorite, what was that? My favorite.
Amplifier?
Oh, uh, man, I'm so simple with stuff. For all the early years, I was just the straight up JMP Marshall guy. Just simple. Um, that would be the ultimate, just finding that right Marshall and 412 cab, plug in, no pedals, just the cable and the guitar. To me, that's the ultimate tone. So, and I haven't really had a lot of amps through the years. I had the Marshalls. I had a 50 watt, 100 watt. The JMP. I still have another 100 watt I got however long ago. But Soldano was one of the early. That was one of the first boutique amps that I got. And when we were living in LA back in the 80s doing the first records, Fern, the other guitar player in Jeff, he became friends with Mike Soldano, and he was just a small guy. And Fern and I were one of his first customers, along with like the Aerosmith guys and a few others. I mean, I think I had amp number like 60 something,
Mm.
back then. So and he's still doing it. So I always think of him when I'm with the guitar stuff I'm doing now, and we've reconnected and keep up and stuff like that. But he's kind of an influence on me in ways. But that, as for amps, that's the only other amp I've really had, except for now I play the Friedman, a Dirty Shirley. I love that thing.
The Freeman Dirty Shirley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good amp. Love it. He built some. He's got a great thing going. Good old Dave Friedman.
Have you ever? Well, speaking of that, I usually always ask my guests, if you'd like to ask my guests a question, please text my official Artist Talk hotline at 1626, area code 626-658-4908. Limit one question per text, please. Lines are open. And have you had a chance to play through this yet?
No, not yet.
It's like the circuit from his regular BEOD
Uh-huh.
that's derived from his B100 amp.
Uh-huh.
And it's the brown eye circuit.
Right.
Something about keeping the gain down to like about 9 o'clock, pumping the volume.
Uh-huh.
It's just something about that. You know?
Right. Yeah, that's the ultimate. Back in the day, that's how they got the tones out of those Marshalls. Is they didn't have the preamp back then, so you had to crank the shit out of it. But nowadays, that's what I like, is keeping. If you can go loud, keep the preamp down a little bit, and just nudge that volume as far as you can without blowing the door. That's the ultimate tone.
Plus, also, you were mentioning the Dirty Shirley.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had a chance to play through that?
No, I haven't. I got to check that out.
This is cool.
Yeah, I'll have to go over there and check some of his stuff out.
This is really, really neat.
Mm-hmm.
And also, talking about organic rock and roll, the Golden Pearl.
Mm.
This right here,
Yeah.
I was blown away.
Huh.
I was really blown away. And all I could do was picture this going straight into a front of a JMP.
Right.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You mentioned the Dirty Shirley. I had to show you those. Kind of got off track. Sorry about
Dirty
that.
Shirley. That's a great name. So funny.
Amazing. And then there's always the Buxom Boost,
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. The Buxom Boost.
Right.
I love that. Have you ever found yourself ever gravitating towards wah pedals?
Again, not. I love them because there's so many great players I love that used them. But I use a little bit now. I have a cover band I do called the Butlers, and we do all just classic stuff that we grew up on. A couple songs that I'll use a wah on. So. He's digging in the mountain of pedals. Is that what you're doing there?
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to get my pedals. Well, the wah pedal that I'm looking at right now, I was going to show you. Is the Friedman No More Tears wah. And I also have the Morley George Lynch Dragon wah.
Uh-huh.
And they're like two separate entities, you know. Like the Friedman wah is really great because with the dip switches, and you're able to really fine tune the wah. You're going to use it for a clean tone, or if you're going to use it for a dirty tone.
Right.
Pretty amazing. So do you have any plans of well, do you have any plans per se of ever coming out with a rock and roll relics amp?
Not right now, no amp yet. But I do say yet because you just never know.
Never know.
Yeah, but we've talked about doing a pedal. That would be kind of, we had to take baby steps with it, and so go small and then bring it up. So we'll see. You know, it's been talked about, but there's a lot of the stuff, you know, that we got to get through first. So got a new model coming out next year that will launch at NAMM. So we plan to launch at NAMM. It's crunch time right now, so hopefully we'll get it done. We'll get it done now. So.
Well, I'm hoping that I end up going to NAMM show next year.
You should.
I'm hoping. I'm
Mhm.
hoping. We'll see what happens, you know. But if I, well, something that was promised to me, if it comes in the mail, then I will definitely be there.
Uh-huh.
Opening day, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
The very first day.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really looking forward to it because I really can't wait to see what you have coming out.
Right.
What your new line's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, me being the guitar freak that I am, I'm sure I'll check out Friedman's moves.
Oh yeah. Well, when you're there, if you're going to be there, you might as well walk the miles because there's a lot to see. And when you're a gear geek, that's what you do.
You know, hopefully I'll be able to go this time around. I'm really hoping.
Uh-huh.
So who would you say is probably your biggest, did we talk about this, your biggest musical influences?
Mm-hmm. No, we haven't talked about that. Well, you know, you can't, it's hard to keep simple. Though the artists I love are very simple, there's so many of them. That's what makes it complicated. So I have a wide range of favorites, but you know, my gateway is as many people from my generation and yours would be Kiss. You know, that was, at least for me, that was a huge gateway to open the door for like wanting to buy a guitar, and you know, uh, it just was the obsession. You know, I mean, I was into stuff like early stuff, music wise, would be like, you know, Elton John and, you know, AM radio stuff, Glenn Campbell, and you know, the stuff that was the top 40 hits. But then when Kiss came along, that was for like 1975 for me. That just opened the door, and then it was Aerosmith, and it was Cheap Trick, and you know, along comes the Sex Pistols, and you know, of course the Stones and the Beatles are in there, but you know, and then really when AC/DC comes along, it was just that really just that grabbed me deep. So those are really like the key bands for me. But then I got really into all the, you know, when the metal comes along with Priest and Iron Maiden and Saxon, Motorhead, and a whole new wave of British heavy metal thing, the Raven, and you know, like Merciful Fate and all that stuff. You know, Tank, Tigers of Pantang, and then I got into the whole glam stuff that started coming up. You know, Hanoi Rocks, Girl, stuff like that. So music was great back then. It was, you know, I still listen to all that stuff.
Well, yeah, once I know that for myself, that once I first heard Thin Lizzy.
Oh yeah, well there's another one. I missed that one. Thin Lizzy and UFO. and Nazareth.
UFO.
Yeah, UFO, forget about it. And Thin Lizzy.
The list is endless, but it starts with those two. I think that and Zeppelin, you know.
Yeah, and Zeppelin. Yeah, see, I can't even keep up with all the bands. It's like all that stuff then. But yeah, Zeppelin be one. UFO and Thin Lizzy ran deep with Thin Lizzy and UFO. And Nazareth, which is a well underrated band, unfortunately, but I got very into Nazareth.
Iron Butterfly,
Yeah.
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf, yeah. It's endless. The music back then, it was so, it was just, it was just everything new that was coming out. It's really what created today's platform of music. It's a lot of good stuff that comes out now, though. I mean, there's some stuff that, of course, people don't like, but there's some hidden jewels out there, some new bands that are great.
There's just something to be said about, and I know, we've talked about it extensively, but I just can't help but go back to simplicity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, simplicity is key. Though Rush and Yes and bands like Zeppelin in a lot of ways weren't simplicity bands, but they were simplicity at the same time,
Phenomenal. Yeah. You know who else really captured that that simplistic power of rock and roll? Foghat.
Oh God, come on. Foghat. Rod the Bottle Price, man, one of my favorite slide players. Incredible.
Foghat.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, man, those guys, come on. Great songs. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, British band too. A lot of people don't think about that. Yeah, Lonesome Dave, man.
Foghat. Growing up as Steppenwolf, Foghat, it's like.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Wow.
Mm.
That brings back so many great memories for me.
Right.
It really does.
Oh yeah, music holds those memories. It's great.
Joe Wallen, be well. See you, Will. Billy, my next axe is the Starfighter or the Lightning. Thank you, guys.
Great.
There you go.
I like it.
There you go.
Yeah, both those are two of my favorite models right now. Those are great. I love the Starfighter. It's a very fun guitar to play. But all guitars are fun to play, I guess. So.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's all about having as many as you can because they all hold its own thing for you, and it's all the look and the whole vibe of a guitar. So I'm sure when you're a guitar freak, you just want as many as you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it goes. It's not a bad. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
Without a doubt. Be honest. Yeah. The what I think really, and I can't stress this enough, the links down in the description box below, everybody. Check them out. Check out Rock and Roll Relics links. Check out JETBOY'S links. Check out what the description box has got to offer. Down there, you will find my support links. You will find my show support links if you like my content. Please subscribe, smash that bell notification, and check out all the links down the description box below. I just can't stress that enough. Today, I look forward so very much to be able to talk to Mr. Billy Rowe about rock and roll relic guitars and being music lovers. And just kind of kind of fell off the plate there a little bit. But
yeah, that's how it goes. That's how music is. It's passionate.
Yeah.
especially
the
if
power
you,
of music.
you and I grew up on a lot of the same stuff, so you can't help but just throw that ball back and forth.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
can't help it.
No, it's a good thing. It's a healthy one to be
Beautiful,
passionate about.
beautiful, beautiful. The Thunders, with the Thunders line of instruments for rock and roll relic guitars, sir, what inspired you to want to really come up with as many variations of the Thunders model as you have now?
That again, that kind of just happened as it goes along, because in the whole boutique world, it's really, when it all started, it really was mashing things up and just hybrid stuff and trying this pickup that you would never think would go in that's known for this guitar or whatever. So it's really just, trying different things and seeing how it works, putting a Filtertron in a double cut and, a Filtertron in a Tele style guitar, whatever. And it just looks cool. You take it to a different place. It's kind of a creative thing. There's a lot of great builders out there that do some amazing work of just being able to hybrid all these different parts, from different brands that, were the innovators of the guitar world, and it just kind of happened, you just look at something, you think of colors, it's really endless for the most part. And it's fun,
Well, it's an open-ended thing. It's there are really no rules. It's open-ended,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever, I know I have seen, well, luthiers that I really respect as a guitarist, as a guitar lover, and a guitar geek. There's luthiers that I thought to myself, they're so talented. It's like they have their one thing. They have their one specialty,
Mm-hmm.
and that specialty is what they focus on. The reason why I mention that is because with rock and roll relic guitars, you've not only taken these awesome inspirations and these awesome models, but they're so diverse.
Mm-hmm.
They're diverse. They're just awesome creations that have a character of their own, and they're so diverse. That is absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
Really,
Oh.
they're just so diverse. And when you take the Thunders model, that's absolutely epic.
Uh-huh.
Then you have your Heartbreaker and your 52, which are beyond imaginable, just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That just scream respect and scream play me, play me, play me. Just scream, just ah. I love them, man. I love them. And then you throw in that gnarly, badass Richards Telly, you know, and then the Jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Jaguar. Wow. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is beautiful, really. I just diversity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So are you? Well, what can we expect from Rock and Roll Relic guitars for 2019?
Well, we're rolling out of that year now, so that's really rolling just what we have, the end of the year. But next year we got a new design coming out next year, so it's an offset, set neck guy. It's gonna be. I'm pretty pumped up about it. It's gonna be cool, exciting. So we're just getting to the final touches of it now. So it's gonna be. I'm sure we're gonna be turning screws to the last minute up to NAMM. So, but it's all good.
Well, I'm hoping that I make it to NAMM this time.
Yeah, you gotta make it out. You're probably close. Don't you live close or not?
I live I live in LA County.
Yeah, so you'll make it, and you can get there easily.
I live in Azusa. Are you familiar with
No, what's close to that I would know?
Glendora?
Yeah.
San Dimas?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. That's not too far.
You know?
Uh-huh.
So how's the Laverne, Pomona, Claremont? How's the weather up where you're at right now, Mr. Rowe?
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been rainy, overcast and rainy right now.
Yeah, it's been coming down. Well, yesterday it was coming down hard. Gosh, that leads me to think about it's Christmas time.
Yeah. Christmas again.
Christmas is here again.
I know.
Rock and roll. I'm sorry, sir.
Can you believe it? It's here again.
Where'd it go?
Sure.
Where'd it go?
I know.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for anybody who wants to get somebody a real exceptional, exquisite Christmas present, check the links down below in the description box, folks. Check out Rock and Roll Relics. Check out Rock and Roll Relics. And with my personal favorites being the Thunder's double cut with the humbucker, the 52,
Mm-hmm.
and the Keith Richards Telly. There's something there for every guitar geek. There's something there for every music lover. Check out the Rock and Roll Relics link down in the description box below. The Music Gear Network says great show today. Well done. Well, thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cutter Savage, he was on the show yesterday. What's up? Just checking in. How you doing, Cutter? How you doing this morning? Great show yesterday, buddy. Thank you. Thank you for coming on Artist Talk yesterday, Cutter. So we're about right there. We're about right there. Something that I say to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I have two words that I always like to say, and these two words are the whole reason why I'm going today.
Mm-hmm.
Stay inspired. Stay inspired, everybody, and know that dreams could come to reality.
Mm-hmm.
If you just believe. My stepfather, who is no longer with us, the lowest point in my life, Warren Turner, he told me, whatever the mind of me, William Starr Dunham, can believe and conceive, William Starr Dunham can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I pass that on to you, Mr. Rowe.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, whatever the mind of Mr. Billy Rowe can believe and conceive, Mr. Billy Rowe can achieve.
Yes, I believe that. Yeah, I'm a believer of that thinking for sure.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Stay inspired, everybody. Stay inspired.
All about inspiration.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, sir, do you have any questions for me?
I don't know if I have any questions for you actually, but I keep up what you're doing. I'll just tell you it's awesome what you do. I love your passion for guitars and music and rock and roll and all that. And I could tell we have a lot in common with just growing up in an era of those, back when, the 70s, things were simple, yet very exciting, innovative, and, the whole thing. So it's good what you do.
Thank you.
Supporting small brands and stuff that you're inspired by and influenced by and all that and have a passion for. Positive stuff.
I thank you, sir, from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my soul. I thank you for your kindness, and I thank you for your time. And I thank you for your inspiration to me.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that I watch the live performances from the whiskey, every time that I go back in time and I look at the evil video and I look at I just, all I do is just smile. It makes me so happy. Just everything just makes me so happy. My life's not getting any younger, and my life's not getting any longer. And I'll never be 16 again. But I will say this. Another reason why I admire rock and roll relic guitars so much, and I admire you, sir, Mr. Rowe, and I admire the music of JETBOY is because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's what I was always told.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's the way it works is, we inspire each other, So.
Gotta stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Well, we're all just adult children, basically. So, because we all still just we're talking about stuff that we loved when we were kids, or we got into it when we were kids, and we still love it. And that will keep your spirit young. And look at some of these heroes, these bands we talk about. They're still playing. They're rolling 70s. So there's something to be said for music.
The recent tour that on the subject of music, the recent tour that was just announced, Poison, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, stadium tour with Joan Jett.
With Joan Jett opening. That's a great one.
With Joan Jett.
She's going to punch it. She's going to knock him out before the second. I mean, she's going to destroy, as far as I'm concerned.
It's going to be cool, man.
They're great, but with Joan Jett first, it's like, oh boy. You talk about the ultimate. You know, she'll swing right hook and knock them all out. She's awesome, man. Joan Jett, Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be great.
I love Joan Jett.
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time. She just
Oh, she oozes rock and roll.
she's just gonna kick the doors in.
It's gonna be fucking great. Uh,
She's just gonna kick the doors in, blows the walls down. Yeah.
a great stadium tour. That's good to see all that. I mean, for summer next year, 2020, all these bands tour. You know, Kiss will be out there. I mean, I hear AC/DC is going to be a big one at next year, and you know, that's to see the ones filling the big rooms. You know, the big Green Day Weezer tour. That's going to be huge. It's all rock and roll based. It's great.
Green Day and Weezer.
Yeah, that's going to be a slam dunk too.
Wow.
Hmm?
Wow.
Right?
Wow. Wow. Green Day and Weezer. I didn't hear about that one. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's going to be a stadium tour too. That's going to be great.
That's amazing. That's amazing without a doubt. Well, folks in the chat room, I'd like to thank you for Green Day and Weezer. Wow. That's gonna be cool. The where was I? Rock and roll brain freeze.
That's funny.
Rock and roll brain freeze. Sorry, folks. Cutter Savage. Doing well. Happy to be a part of it. Oh, yeah. Cutter was on my show yesterday. Thank you, Cutter. That tour is going to be rad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt. Well, folks, I am ending this episode of Artist Talk. Would anybody, before I end, would anybody like to ask Mr. Rowe a question? Please feel free. Please feel free to throw me a text and I'll be glad to ask it. Well, sir, I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I thank you for really for blessing my life today and for coming on my show. And thank you.
You bet.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, it was fun.
And on that note, I'll be right with you. I'll be right with you, sir.
Cool.
On that note,
over and out.
Check out the links below, folks. RockNRollRelics guitars. Check out all the JETBOY'S links. Check out my links. Check out my support link. Oh my God, it's rock and roll in here, man. Thank you, everybody, for joining Mr. Rowe and I today for RockNRollRelic guitars. See you in the next Artist Talk. And the wheel goes around.